Support for Cinema Classics comes from Film Columbus, enriching our community to make Columbus a destination for film education, exhibition, and production. Learn more at filmcolumbus.com. Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows every Thursday night at 8:01 p.m. and full shows online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto. This is a special interview episode of Cinema Classics. I'm flying solo today. John is producing, sitting there quietly, like a professional. We're joined today with a very special guest, Oscar-winning visual effects artist Steve Hubbard, who I'm surprised to find out is an old buddy. We used to work together. That is so crazy. I got this message from Jeannie at CCAD. She said, hey, we got this guy. I thought maybe you might interview him. Of course, it's been so long. I didn't put two and two together. And it turns out you walk in the door and here you are.
I put it together.
You put it together.
Yeah, of course I'll go in and see that guy.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to ask you a question. Look at these visual effects here. Check this out.
Amazing.
This is John's.
State of the art.
This is John's visual effects work. He prints these off on a printer. This is the movie you won an Oscar for, Life of Pi.
Yeah.
And it's here, rendered here, thumbtacks and black and white. All your work, flattened out, utterly destroyed.
Completely.
I don't know, maybe you can do something for us. So yeah, let's get right into that.
Yeah, sure.
What was that experience like? Where do you have your Oscar? How does that all work?
So, I don't have the Oscar, obviously. It was a huge group effort.
Okay.
So, I like to say that I was on the team that won the Oscar. So it was an amazing experience. I mean, during the experience, it's not so amazing because you don't see the end result.
Right.
Just kind of working in the studio. I mean, working 14-hour days for months on end. But seeing the final result was really exciting. Obviously, winning the Oscar was incredible.
Yeah. How did you were you watching? How did you find that out?
About
the winning?
The winning?
Yeah.
They told us that it was. They didn't tell us that we won, but it was kind of leaning that direction. Because you have Ang Lee as a director too, which the Academy really likes him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
well, congratulations on that. And other films you worked on, Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
Arguably a better film than Life of Pi.
Yeah, it's it's hard to keep track of all the movies. I mean, the last one that I worked on was at Leica. It's called The Missing Link. It's their new film that comes out, I think, next year.
Okay.
Which is going to be really special and amazing. Everything that comes out of Leica is pretty special. But over the years, I mean, Alien Covenant I worked on last year. Peter Rabbit.
Yeah,
was
I saw that one. Peter Rabbit.
Yeah, which was surprisingly good.
It turned out to be a pretty big hit, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a sleeper hit. They're doing another one. They've already booked it. Trying to think of some other highlights. When I was in China, I worked on a bunch of ILM stuff. So Transformers. I was part of the lead team on Black Sails that won an Emmy the first year that they came out. So that was really fun. That
was a Michael Bay produced thing?
Yeah.
Cool.
Pirate show.
Yeah, right.
Never seen it, but the effects look good.
So, when we see these movies, we're sitting in the theater, especially like the big Marvel, adaptations, everybody sits afterwards.
Yeah.
And you see just thousands and thousands of names that it takes so many people to make these movies.
Yeah.
So when you're working in a vast group like that, what is something that you're doing? What is something that you add to something like Captain America, like that you can point to and go,
I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fleeting. So, I mean, usually when you're working on shows, and it depends on what role you're in, like at Rhythm and Hues, where I worked on Life of Pi, I was a shot artist, so it was Richard Parker, the Tiger, doing effects and stuff for that. More recently, I've moved into environments and things like that, so for like Civil War, there's a shot in the beginning of the film where it's kind of this flashback where you see a young Robert Downey Jr., and he's in this room, and the entire room is CG, so I modeled that room. So, because you see it for 5 seconds, and I worked on it for 3 months. So yeah, it's hard to keep perspective sometimes because you're working on just this tiny little piece.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see the big picture of it.
So your work has taken you all over the world, I would imagine?
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying I was so Los Angeles, Beijing, Singapore, a couple places in Australia, and then Portland most recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would you have to go to Beijing for?
Yeah, so it's project based.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like being in the circus. You literally kind of go from place to place, wherever the shows are, that kind of thing. Beijing was kind of a different opportunity because ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, big visual effects company, they moved a lot of their work into other studios. So London, Vancouver, and Beijing was one of them, for a company called Base Effects. It's the vendor. So it was a really cool opportunity to go over there, and it was after Life of Pi and Rhythm and Hues. I don't know if you know any of that story, but they went out of business after they won the Oscar.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they went insolvent. So after that, I was kind of like, do I want to go to Canada or do I want to go do something different? And I went and did something different.
So you're here now.
Yeah.
You're back here.
Yeah.
Back in Columbus at CCAD.
Yep. And the Ohio Film Group.
And the Ohio Film Group. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you going to be teaching?
First, for this semester, I've actually been teaching at CCAD for about 3 years remotely.
Okay.
So it's kind of an unusual thing, but basically I and Charlotte Bellin came up with this kind of strategy to where I would just have class, so like they just put me up on a big screen and I would teach. So I've been doing that and it was really successful and I really enjoyed it. So I'll be teaching Unreal Engine, which is a game engine that we're kind of trying to push into more of like a cinema feature animation type of role. So that's what I'll be teaching this semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you excited to be back?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really great. I mean,
will you continue to do visual effects work for?
Yeah, for the Ohio Film Group. I'm a visual effects supervisor.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's kind of a unique plan. So my time is being split between the two. So I'll do studio work and production work for the Ohio Film Group and then teach at CCAD.
So what does that look like, the Ohio Film Group? So somebody makes a movie here and you'll...
They have lots of things going on.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I can't talk about, but yeah, they're definitely a post-production house where they do digital intermediate, sound production, visual effects, the whole...
So it could be commercial work, narrative work, it could be anything.
Most of it's film.
Okay.
Because of the Ohio tax credit, which is kind of substantial now. It's 20-something%.
And does Film Columbus line up with that at all? Like the commission,
I don't
the
know.
film commission,
They might.
do they work together?
No clue.
Just curious.
Yeah. I've only been there a week.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
So, talking about visual effects, obviously it's so much fun to think about, and
it's fun to think about.
Yeah, it's fun to think about, and for movie fans, it's fun to watch. I miss practical effects a lot,
Yeah.
So how do you see that? How do you see those things blending? Like,
there's definitely a trend back towards the old way of doing special effects and doing practical effects.
Yeah.
It depends on what director you're dealing with. Like Christopher Nolan, he's a huge practical effects guy, but it's just the nature of business. I mean, you're going to have to do visual effects. I mean, pretty much every shot you see in a film has visual effects in it,
right.
Even if you don't realize it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was really interesting, especially on like Life of Pi. There's this really interesting story that our head of the studio went to a screening of it with a Fox guy over at 20th Century Fox on their lot, and he's the Fox guy was the head of visual effects. And they go in, they do the screening, and he turns to our studio head, and he was like, so it was about, what, 30-40% CGI tiger? And our head just starts laughing. He was like, 90%. And he was like, okay, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're actually tricking visual effects people that they don't even understand.
That's
it's
amazing.
A visual effect.
So, in your opinion, what is the best blending of practical effects and CGI effects in a movie?
In a movie.
You got any of your personal favorites?
That's a really good question. Interstellar, probably.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Nolan movie. They did some really amazing stuff. Gravity was another one that.
Oh yeah, right. That's the Sandra Bullock. Yeah.
Yeah, though most of that was total CG. Yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan's really good. I mean, and then obviously you've got like Peter Jackson movies, Lord of the Rings. I mean, those guys were amazing.
My favorite is still the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
With the cup.
still amazing.
Yeah, the blending of that is really great.
Yeah.
It still looks great.
I mean, you look at Jurassic Park and it still looks spectacular, even
Yeah.
to today's standards. Yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
I'm more than willing to come over and talk film anytime you want.
All right. We'll definitely have you back. We'll definitely have you back. Thank
Awesome.
you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you.